Alright, Shalom. Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Bakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go into the Day of the Lord part 2. Alright, the Day of the Lord part 2. So this is, we're going to start off in Zephaniah. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14. And we're going to go down to the 18th verse. So right here, this is, this is all about, Yahushua. Okay, because the Most High, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jehovah, his name is Yahweh. So the Most High, the Supreme Being, is going to send his Son, Yahweh Shai, down here with the angelic forces, to destroy the wicked and to gather the elect. So the righteous that are written in the book of life. Okay, so those angelic forces, the army of angels, are what the world is witnessing today. They are witnessing those, the strange lights. This is worldwide. People are reporting, strange lights. You mortals call them, so-called UFOs, so-called UAPs. You see? But, some people refer them as, the spaceships. All right, but they're the chariots of Israel. They're the vehicles of the heavens. You see, so this is why the leaders here of this world, they can't comprehend them. They're not even they don't even understand them. You see? Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 14. We're going to go down to the 18th verse. The great day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, is near. It is near. That's right. It's very near. Because our Lord is going to Yahushai. Okay, Yahweh is going to send his son Yahushai in the middle of World War III. Which is, we're pretty much here already. We just remember we're only waiting on two major prophecies to happen before Yahushua arrives, and that is when these elites, international bankers, starting with the Rothschilds, Rockefellers on down, the dark shadow government, the people who are ruling behind the scenes, as soon as they make that chip mandatory. Okay, so that's what we're waiting on, is the chip to be made mandatory, and that's it. Pretty much for World War III to be in full bloom, and that's it. And then we're gonna be out of here. So, because we already went through everything. We already went through captivity. We already went through all the curses. Okay, all the prophecies already happened. Okay, where we got held over here by sold into slavery, by all these nations. So all the prophecies are already fulfilled. Except the Jacob's trouble, which is we're pretty much here. All right, Jacob's trouble is remember the pale horse, when Esau, the so-called white man, comes in with his martial law troops, puts people on guillotines. All right, that's right here. You gotta understand that this society as we know it is about to be shut down. Okay, life as you know it is going to be shut down. All right, because these elites are about to bring total chaos around the world, not just the United States. But the United States is like your main. This is the belly of the beast, but it's going to be worldwide. Okay, it's going to be worldwide because these elites are really going to push for their new world order. You know, and remember, you remember how the so-called white man was. Remember how he was when he was, you know, coming in looking for new land. All right, remember how he was. Remember how he was, you know, just, you know, looking for gold and stuff when they came to, when Christopher Colon, aka Christopher Columbus, came to San Salvador, you know, October 1492. All right, so when they came over here, you know, they were, you know, looking for, you know, new land, you know, to conquer, you know, gold and all that stuff. Remember? All right, so, but look at how they were treating the Israelites, you know, because the so-called Native Americans, you know, displaced America was, uh, you know, Mexico before, you know. But who are the so-called Mexicans? Israelites. Okay, so but remember how he remember how selfish he was. Remember how bloodthirsty he was when he just because he was just trying to conquer because he wanted it. Okay, now you have to really consider because they're really gonna come down. You know, it's not just you know because you know the so-called white man's evil. No, you gotta remember. Okay, these are the Edomites. All right, this man, they're control freaks, and they rule by military, by force. Okay, uh, remember how remember how they did all that just because they wanted gold. All right, now and remember they only had like swords back then. You know, they had like the Gatling gun and stuff like that, but it was you know their technology was very basic. All right, now look at they got satellites, lasers in space, you know, spies, you know, militaries, tanks, jets, see, drones, AI. You know what I'm saying? So now, imagine how these Edomites are gonna come down on you Israelites because now it's not like they're just looking for gold. The prophets are telling them that they're about to be exterminated and they're going into slavery. So can you imagine how bad it's gonna be? You know, and not to go off topic, but you know you have to really consider that. You know, remember how these Edomites get down. You know, where have they ever went around the world and didn't cause control and didn't cause complete chaos? You know, and didn't take you know, where did these Edomites, you know, the so-called white man, where did they ever go around the world and everything was just, you know, and everything was just feed, man. Okay, everything was just fine and dandy. Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay, wherever this man goes, okay, he'll take out their leaders just because he wants it their way. You know, the so-called white man is so much a control freak. He's in other people's countries telling them what they can and cannot do. It's not even their house. It's not even their country. See, you know. So imagine how they're gonna be in this time when they're fighting for survival because they know that they're about to be extinct, that they know that they're going to slavery. Can you imagine? Oh, you know, these Edomites are gonna go berserk. All right, remember the so-called white man, he's not just gonna lay down. Okay, yeah, he may get, you know, he may be hurt and stuff like that, you know, but shit, you know, remember this man has the whole world in his hands. You know, this man's gonna go crazy. This is why in Daniel chapter 12 verse 1, it's a time like never before. Because remember how crazy they were when they were just looking for gold, you know, trying to conquer, you know, new land. Remember, what they did to the so-called natives. All right, imagine what they're gonna do because now they're at the verge of going to slavery. Shit, remember, all right, this man's about to go bananas out here. You know, and now remember, now he has AI, androids, drones, you know, teams, militaries. Come on. You gotta really put that into perspective, you know? But anyway, the great day of the Lord, Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14. The great day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, it is near and hasted greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. Right? Because, yeah, you know, the left-hand side is going to roll. All right, with their, you know, they got their sleeper cells everywhere. The UN troops, you know, they got their new laws with their newer order and stuff. But remember, the Lord's coming too. You know, so they only have the left-hand side only has a small window. Okay, the left-hand side only has a small window to only has a small window, you know, to do their thing, you know. And then the Lord's gonna be here, so the mighty men shall cry there bitterly, because yeah, like your tough soldiers, you know, your tough soldiers that are, you know, around the world. Okay, your tough, you know, they're gonna be crying bitterly. All right, so that's something that you gotta consider. If these soldiers are gonna be crying there bitterly, how much more the women and children, you know, or even just, you know, regular citizens, you know, your regular average day Joes, you know, who are not soldiers, you know, because remember, war's not pretty. It's hard to survive, you know, and war, hey, you can get stabbed. Like, just think about it. Like, you know, when people get in a fight, you know, sometimes you walk out all right, but a lot of times people get hurt, you know. They'll get like a busted eye, a busted lip, you know. So, you know, it can get really bad. Like, look at how bad a street fight can get, you know. Well, you imagine when people are fighting for food, you know, because remember, right now is nice because you can go to the store. You can wake up, hit that Starbucks, okay, go to the grocery store, okay, you got all these fast food restaurants, all these pizza places, okay, all these restaurants. Remember, all that's about to be shut down. Okay, everything that makes life convenient as you know it is about to stop, is about to change very soon. Very soon. So, like in a street fight, you know, it can get very, very bad. And that's like when people are just going at it because they got mad, an argument, whatever. And that can get really bad, you know? So you imagine when people are fighting for their lives, you know, remember, you're going to have people fighting to the death out here, you know? People with weapons, because it's not going to be that long where it'll be very rare, you know, once things get going, that somebody's out here, you know, with no weapons. All right, because some people who don't like weapons right now, all right, this is just talking about people in the world, okay? Because the elect, you guys are going to be covered. The angels are going to protect you from that. But, and that's, you have to really believe that. You have to really, really believe that. So, yeah, the people that are in the world, you know, it's not going to take that long. Because once, you know, civil war breaks out here in America, you know, because there's going to be a great civil war. Because remember, not everybody's down with the New World Order. You're going to have a lot of people fighting against the New World Order, you know. There's going to be a lot of resistance because you even got Christians, you know, yeah, they're bugged out. But even they know that, not all of them, but people are waking up to the fact that that chip is the mark, okay, of the beast. So a lot of people are not going to take the chip, which is the mark for the New World Order. All right, so there's a lot that's going to be happening out here, you know, a lot, because a lot of people are waking up. You know, a lot of people don't know the whole truth. but people are waking up. All right, so there's going to be a lot of pushback. There's going to be a lot of civil wars out here, a lot. So people who don't really carry guns, all right, this is talking about people in the world, all right. So people who don't, that just means, what does that mean? People that are in the world, it means that those of you who are not in the faith. So because you're just left out here with the rest of everybody else. Remember, because the Lord's only coming for a small few. So when we say people in the world, it's because you don't believe in the Lord. All right, so you're just out here with the masses. You see? All right. So the people in this world who are not in the truth, once, like let's say they say, oh yeah, I'm not going to carry no weapons, I don't like them. Once you start to see people get hacked to death, your children get killed in front of you, these women getting raped out here, because the UN troops, they're known for that. Okay, in war, that's what always happens. Okay, women get raped, men get raped. It's real, You start to see your friends, your neighbors, your family members get slaughtered. People are gonna be so terrified because the sounds. That's the thing that this is why the Lord calls America the virgin daughter of Babylon, because America has never been invaded by a foreign troop. But remember, the Russians are here deep, the Chinese are here deep, Iran, there's a lot of foreign soldiers, sleeper cells here. A lot. So, they're once they get going, remember, they don't like Americans. And war's not pretty. All right, so once people start to see how people are being put to death out here, you're going to, people in the world are going to grab some type of weapon, something, because once you start to see how people are going to get put down out here, people are going to be terrified. Remember, it says the mighty men shall cry there bitterly. All right, so that's something that America is not used to seeing. Yeah, right here you have, like gangs, cartels, mafias, stuff like that. Okay, but you don't really have war. You don't really have war that's out here in the streets. Okay, this is why it's called, the Lord calls America the virgin daughter of Babylon, because it's not like Afghanistan and Iraq and all that, where these heathens are just blowing each other up, in the streets with tanks and all that. See that America hasn't seen that, because all these wars happen outside of America. You see? So so Americans are not used to seeing that, unless like you're in the military, and you've been overseas and all that, But as far as American citizens, all right, you don't really see tanks out here and stuff like that. Wars and buildings getting blown up, like what's happening in Gaza and all that. You don't see that here, all right, because all these wars, World War I, World War II, happen out there. Europe, out there, by Russia, way out there, Germany. So this is something that this is why the Lord calls them the virgin daughter of Babylon. So that's something that I'm not talking down, on the American people, because there's some Americans out there that are prepped, they are prepped, they're ready to go. Believe that. All right, but that's a small number compared to the masses. Because yes, you have some Americans out there that are ready, that are, that are tough as nails, as people say, they're ready for war, but it's not that many, you know. There's the majority of people out here are just in la la land, you know, completely, completely in delusion about what's about to go down out here, So this is why the scriptures say the virgin daughter of Babylon, because America hasn't been invaded by a foreign troop. Pearl Harbor was an inside job, just like 9/11. Okay, Pearl was an inside job, just like 9/11. And the last time there was a war here was the Civil War, in the late 1800s, 1860s, when America was split between the North and the South. You had people who that were believing that, because you had Jefferson Davis and you had Abraham Lincoln at that time, so those were when America was at Civil War. But since then, this place haven't seen war on the streets, where actual tanks are here, all the militaries are fighting here on American soil. See, the Lord has left this place untouched for a while. So a lot of people are, getting fat and sassy. They're getting comfortable, because they live lavishly. Everybody here is all about that dollar bill, hooking up and all that stuff. See, there's, remember, yes, there are soldiers here. People, a few Americans that are prepping for war. Yes, but not many. That number is small compared to the masses. Okay, the masses out here are completely in la la land to the fact of what's about to partake down here. All right, they're completely in la la land. They're lost in the sauce. So it's gonna be very bad for them, very bad. Just look at people who there's people who they're just they're just in offices all day. They're over 250 pounds. They can't even run around the block. Because they'll have a Mac attack. So imagine in war. All right, imagine in war. Verse 15, Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 15. That day is a day of wrath. Check it out. This is what type of day it's going to be. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. See that? So, a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, because icy beams are going to be going off. The angels are going to be taking people out here. But you got to understand, the Lord is going to be taking people out. A day of darkness and gloominess. Yeah, because the Lord is coming to wage war on these elites. All right, starting with the Rothschilds, Rockefellers on down. Okay, they're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. All right, the Lord is not going to be nice. When the Lord gets here, they're completely screwed. All right, it don't matter if they're in these underground cities. They're being guarded by super soldiers, androids, robots. The angels are going to run through them. That's easy work. All right, just know that these elites, the international bankers, they're in big trouble. Okay, when the Lord and the angels get here, and once the 144,000 get activated with spiritual power, they're in big trouble. Big. They're going to unleash hell on the earth for a little while, but that's a small window, you know. But once the Lord arrives, just know that these elites are in major trouble. A day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. Yeah, because right here in America, they have something called pride. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing good for yourself and stuff like that. But what pride does is it makes you feel that like you're God. Like you don't need the Lord because you're like, oh yeah, I'm the shiznit. I don't need nothing else. Forget everybody. You know. So that pride is that pride is it makes you like a very selfish person. Like look at Mayweather, you know, the boxer. He's he's a good athlete, because he can box good. But Mayweather, his attitude, a lot of people don't like him because why? His attitude. Because what does he have? He has that pride. To show you that pride is a very terrible thing, because he thinks he's all that and stuff. It's like, man, you can't even hang around this dude. Because he just thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. See, because why? He has that pride. He's not like a humble person, He goes around just showing everybody his money and all that stuff. These FRNs that have, a so-called white man's face on it, bragging about FRNs. He's still a slave. It don't matter if you're a billionaire. You gotta remember that Floyd Mayweather is a slave. He's an Israelite. You may be a high-paid slave, but you're a slave, nigga. All right, and you're over here. He's over here flashing, FRNs that has a so-called white man's face on it. Like, yeah, I'm the shit. Like, you're a slave. Just because, yeah, you're a good athlete. Yeah, but that's the thing. You forgot that you're a slave. Right, until the Lord gets here, we were brought over here to serve a punishment. Because we went off as a nation. Our people stopped obeying the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. See? So that's what a lot of people, a lot of people, even in the world, that are not in the faith, they even know, like, man, like, I can't stand Mayweather. It's like, why not? Oh, because his attitude. That's because he got that pride, So see, he thinks he's like the shit. Like you don't even want to watch him. You don't even want to, people don't even want to be near him because that's that pride. See, so the Lord's gonna bring the pride of America down. Okay, the Lord's gonna bring the pride of America down. Absolutely. Because a lot of people here don't think that they can be touched. A lot of people don't think that nothing's gonna happen. Because remember, this place has been untouched for a very long time. A very long time. So people here are complacent. They're comfortable. All right. So you got to face the facts. Because America is number one right now. They're the champs right now because no one has defeated America. All right. Right now, America is number one. All right. So with that, it brings pride. Because that's why a lot of Americans are like, oh yeah, what are the Russians and Chinese are gonna do to us? A lot of them are saying that, like, yeah, like, because a lot of Americans, and it's understandable, because when you're on the top, you have that, like, yeah, like, we're number one, ain't no one gonna fuck with us, I wish a motherfucker would. Excuse my Italian, People have that attitude like fuck around and find out. You know what I'm saying? Attitude. Excuse my Italian. But so that's why it's that pride. So the Lord's gonna bring that down. Remember, this is why the Lord called America the virgin daughter of Babylon, because it hasn't been touched. The people are so comfortable, like, yeah, we do whatever we want here, See, it's like, yeah, but that's all about to stop, okay? Because the Lord is raising these other nations, Russia, China, Iran, all right, even the Arabs, even the so-called Africans, they're coming in here too. Now, it's not just them, You're gonna have these other nations in here too. They're allies that want to take America down, because there's a lot of people out there that want to take America down, and now is the time to strike, because America is crumbling. America, they hate their own leaders, and they hate each other, and America is divided. You see, So this is that makes America's foundations weak, because they're not united. They're not together, because people don't see eye to eye here in America. So there's great division here. American military, yes, is very strong, but it's divided. Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 17. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. All right, so this is and this is why so a lot of people are being blinded right now. So that's why a lot of people have like their attitudes. People are getting fat and sassy. It's because they can't see it. They can't see what's really about to go down, because the Lord is blinding them. Yeah, because the Lord is making them willingly ignorant. Willingly ignorant. Wait. All right. So this is the Lord blinding the masses. So this is why some people, they even laugh at it. When the Lord has His prophets out there saying that ICBMs are about to be shot off, America's gonna be completely destroyed. People just laugh like, yeah, right. So that is the Lord blinding, blinding the masses. See? Let's start again from the top. All right, so this is Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 17. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. Right. All right, because you went against the Lord. See? And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. All right, so right there, their blood shall be poured out as dust. So there's going to be a lot of bloodshed out here. And their flesh as the dung. The dung is, like when you have like a dog, a pet, and at your house, and you don't have, it's not potty trained. It just kind of goes to the restroom all over the yard. It's just scattered all over, That's how these bodies are going to be laid out here. Because remember, once these wars start, you're not going to have EMS services, firefighters, not even police officers. All right? It's going to be total war out here. Because those individuals, those men and women that work in those departments are going to be home, if they can make it home, because remember, this place is about to be under martial law, so a lot of people are not even going to be able to make it home back to their families, because a lot of places are going to be cut off, with tanks and all that. This is what you got to understand that's going to happen. Remember, a lot of people are not even going to be able to make it home. You're just going to be left out here. Yep. All right. So, you know, that is what's going to be happening. Because remember, you're not going to be able to call 911. 911 is going to be afraid. And they're tough people. Because they deal with stuff all the time, getting shot at. All that. So imagine that. So imagine like police officers. I mean, they're not like soldiers, but still, they still have to carry their guns. Sometimes they have to get in shootouts with gangs and all that. People that rob, So that's a dangerous job, It's not like, your average job where you just spin around in an office chair. It's different, All right? And imagine they're going to be afraid. So how much more people who like never even held the gun, people who, never even seen warfare, who never even got in a fight. Imagine when it's survival to the finish out here. This is why the 14th verse says, the mighty men shall cry there bitterly, because even the soldiers who are top soldiers, top of the lines, Navy SEALs are going to be crying there bitterly. People who are top-notch soldiers, remember, because the Lord is coming. All right, so it's a whole nother level that is beyond people's comprehension. Not only are you gonna have soldiers and stuff out here taking each other out, but remember, you're about to see a lot of things that you never seen before. All right, creatures, dragons. You're about to see a lot of stuff out here. Leviathan. Okay, there's big old creatures in the ocean that are gonna come out. All right, and Leviathan. He's not just like the size of the buildings in these downtown areas. No, Leviathan, he's miles big. Okay, he's something like you would say ginormous. Okay, he is huge. He's extremely big. So this is some. Remember, Godzilla and all that. I mean, that's cool, but that's Esau's movies, But the Lord has, remember, creatures out there that this world hasn't even seen. All right, the Lord has creatures that are going to come from a whole nother dimension. Just look at the ships. Look at how this world can't even explain them. See, this world don't even know how they work. Okay, so imagine the other creatures that are about to come in through portals. Just imagine. That's why the Lord's saying the mighty men should be crying there bitterly. Just remember, it's about to be very, it's about to be very, very hectic out here. Verse 18, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. Because you can't bribe the Lord. Okay, whoever's on the Lord's bad list, that's it. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell on the land, a speedy destruction. Because, the Lord's going to destroy our enemies in 1 hour. That's what you got to understand. So with that's it on, the day of the Lord part 2. Lord willing, I'll make a part 3. Because there's a lot of scriptures that go into the day of the Lord. Just to educate you Israelites out there, to teach you, what type of day it's going to be. So with that, stay strong on your feet, soldier. Shalom.